Good evening. My name is Sharon Norris Lynch, and welcome to Politics on the Patio.
And I'm Diane Thomas Beasley. And our guest this evening is Pastor Frederick Lamar and Adrian Hood. I didn't want to mess up. And this evening, we're touching on a subject that has been growing in Columbus. It's with the Columbus police and the killing of our young black people in Columbus. I want to start with you, Adrian, and I want you to tell us how you got involved into trying to stop what is going on in Columbus right now.
So I became a member of the Involuntary Club, is what I call it. My son Henry Green was killed by Columbus police June 6th of 2016. So I have now been front and center in this fight since that day.
What has happened since the murder? Because I call it a murder. I know they don't, but I call it a murder.
Absolutely.
So what has been going on since with the case?
Well, right now it's in a civil case. So, of course, because it is a pending case, I can't speak specifics about
Right.
it. But initially, there was the whole grand jury process, which by state law, definitely not the law of our sitting prosecutor, but by state law, every police shooting has to go before a grand jury. However, the process is a secret
Flawed.
process. So there's no access to it aside from the prosecutors and the jurors that are listening to the case. And I think that is a system that needs to be changed. But they, so it went through the grand jury process, and of course they came back with a no bill, which was not surprising to me at all. I would have been more surprised had there been an indictment, but the fact that it came back the way that it did was definitely what I expected. Because again, Ron O'Brien has stated that if it was not for the state law itself, he would not present these cases to the grand jury because he does not feel that the police have done anything wrong. So that in and of itself was a problem, and so I already felt like, even though the evidence was going to be presented to the jury, it definitely was not going to be presented in fairness. And I believe that because of that, there was no indictment. And so I continue to fight, not just for my son Henry Green, who was killed by the police, but I also have, another son. I have a brother. I have my brother.
Right.
So this fight is personal, but it's personable.
Right.
So,
Now, Pastor Lamar, you and Miss Hood are acquainted through this unfortunate incident. Tell us the role you've played.
Well, the role I played as far as with Ms. Hood
these-
or just
with Ms. Hood, the killing of Henry Green, and the steps that you're trying to help the community take to prevent these types of senseless killings.
I've been in it since there's been shootings, and mine did come from a police shooting. The first one I got in was when a guy out of New Orleans got shot in the back over on Mount Vernon. I'm trying to think. His mother stays in New Orleans. I can't think of her name right now.
Elaine Hayes.
Yeah, Elaine Hayes. Edward Hayes. Yeah, Edward Hayes. And me and Dr. King was over. I'm trying to think, what was we over there for? But there was something going on. I guess it was a protesting afterwards, after the shooting. So there was protest over there because Barry Etney and someone said, "Look, don't shoot that man, because he was running."
Wow.
And he got shot in the back. But and the police, they're trained, and I don't know how the training is, but if he has a gun, then he's a threat. So they shoot him regardless. And that's when I initially got engaged with that. And caused there was a whole lot of controversy because I was on the side of the young man being the victim, not on the side of police. And we was part of a protest, and in actuality, Dr. King got arrested that night. Yeah, Joel King got arrested that night, and I called the police chief, and I said, "Man, I'm telling you, if you don't want Ace to break out,
That's
you
right.
better let him out."
Right.
And
Because
so,
you had your pulse on the community. You knew.
yeah, that
What the
it would,
temperature
it,
was.
it's going to break out because we was out there trying to keep things calm and everything, and really trying to do some mediation, because the community was upset. And I'm talking about the Mount Vernon community. And then the police officer of that precinct, I don't know if it was the 9th precinct or the precinct over there, they came and Dr. King tried to go up and talk to him. They slammed him on the car, threw handcuffs on him, and took him down. And so, after we talked to him, they said, well, he came in our space, so when the police is talking, the police don't think you only can come so close to him. But I think there's a challenge. I mean, the challenge comes in the fact that when the police are not sensitive to the culture that is going on, it creates a challenge.
That's right.
Yeah.
Between 2013 and 2017, there were 28 people killed by CPT, and 21 were black. My problem is that they go unchecked. And I know with yours, and they call them the jump out boys. What can we, and I know we had that meeting, but what can we as citizens, what can we start doing to check this?
Let me just back up
Okay.
to the grand jury
Okay.
because I sat on the grand jury for a whole year. Yeah, I sat on the grand jury for a whole year, and I advocated on that grand jury because whether it's a true bill or a no bill depends upon the evidence that's presented. And see, the challenge comes in that the prosecutor, in the way they present it, so if they want to present it, they said because what they share, before you give me a no bill, tell me what I need to get a true bill. So if you ain't got enough evidence, then give you a no bill. But no, don't give me a no bill yet.
Right.
Because then I lose it.
Right.
Tell me what I need. Well, you need to bring some more evidence for this or that and the other. There was a situation I sat on there. A young man was out of town. Somebody broke in his house. And because he was a felon, was not supposed to have weapons, they found ammunition. They found a weapon in his garage and ammunition in his house that did not meet the same weapon.
Right.
But they found ammunition in his garage, in his house. And I said, clearly, the neighbor called, somebody breaks in his house. The neighbor called.
Right.
Neighbor called him, he's in Florida. He said, call the police. Police
Right.
came, they found a weapon in his garage, and because he was a felon, they charged him with weapons under disability.
Which is a felony.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute. Who weapon you think that is?
That is. That's right.
If somebody breaks in his house,
That's right.
who gonna leave a weapon in the garage and go
That's
to Florida?
right. Nobody.
Go out of town.
That's exactly right.
So chances are the neighbors saw it.
Right.
And the neighbors saw somebody, so that before I'm gonna come out of the house with a gun, I'm
Right.
gonna leave a gun in there because I
Right.
don't want the neighbor to think, that I'm
Right.
taking something out the house.
Right.
But it's really dependent upon the prosecutors, but it really depends upon who sits on that jury. If we want to change, we've got to start sitting on juries, and we
That's
got to
right.
quit trying to avoid
That's right.
jury duty because
Jury-
we bring a different perspective
That's
to the
exactly
jury when we
right.
sit on it.
A jury duty, number one, in my opinion, is one of the top civic duties
Exactly.
that you can perform. Okay, and if our young people, which mostly young people, that are charged with these crimes, are to have a jury of their peers, we have to stop ducking jury duty,
Exactly.
okay, or making excuses for not showing up or not registering to vote.
But it's difficult, too, to sit on a jury. I sat on one with a young man. He was black. And somehow he and his girlfriend, the mother of his child, had this tumultuous relationship. Well, he goes to the house to see her, and she wouldn't open up the door. So he's out there screaming, hollering, and acting, a fool. And they called the police. But by the time the police had came, he was already walking down the street. Well, of course, you know what they do. They jumped on him, the whole bit. So it went to a jury. So I'm sitting there, and the girl who got up there, you knew she was one who would agitate something, because that's the way she was sitting there, like, and I'm looking at her, and he was just sitting there like this, and I'm thinking, wow. So we get it, what they charge us to go do. So we go in there, and the first thing is everybody's like, he's guilty. And I'm like, hold up. And I ain't going down. I ain't going down. So, brother, I ain't going down with this, okay? And so then the other girl got mad. She turned her back to the table. This is a very difficult thing, and it was right before Christmas. And I'm like, well, I'm not changing my mind. So y'all do what you want to do, okay?
That's right.
So then we got a couple more, because everybody want to leave. Finally, they came on my side, because this boy to me was being railroaded. Because if he's already walking down the street, he was no longer a threat to anyone.
Right.
So that's why I don't like sitting on juries, because everyone in there has a
Right.
different opinion.
That's compelling.
But your opinion is stronger than theirs.
You know me.
Stay tuned. We have more discussion coming right up here on Politics on the Patio.
I'm thrilled to work for a company that does have values and that lives and works by them every day.
I'm really happy. My store just opened up like 3 weeks ago. And finally I can say I'm a store manager, which was my goal, thanks to DSW, because they believed in me. I could easily cry.
I had no retail experience, no managerial experience, but they saw something in me and gave me the opportunity to make a difference in my life.
And also find an organization that was willing to accept me and I can also grow and develop with.
I think one of the most exciting things about being here is seeing people grow, develop, do more, enjoy their careers, elevate their careers.
Always being challenged and always being made to feel that I am valued in my role is what makes DSW favorite for me.
You always have a voice. People always want to know, what's your idea? What are you doing to make a difference in your store? There's a lot of collaboration.
Everybody truly lives the values, and all of the behaviors that everyone exhibits supports that, and it's created a fantastic culture at DSW.
Hi DSW Associates, I'm Roger Rollins, I'm the CEO of DSW. I started my career in the restaurant industry. I evolved into public accounting, eventually led to retail, and ended up here at DSW. I've worked in great companies, but never built the kind of bond and relationships that I've built with people I work with at DSW. And I think it's because my values as a person align with the values of our organization.
Their heart and soul is in everything, and that's how I am, and I just identify with that, and it just makes every day wonderful for me.
A lot of companies put words on a wall and they don't mean anything. Here they actually mean what they say, and it makes it a great place to work.
We actually live by the values that we promote, and it's a great place to work.
I've just had an experience on a plane this past week. When I tell someone I work at DSW, I suddenly become a rock star. You know, to see the emotion that our customers have who are really passionate about footwear and about our brand, that's what makes this such a cool place to work.
Welcome back to Politics on the Patio. Again, we're here with my co-host, the lovely
Diane.
Pastor Frederick Lamar and Ms. Adrienne Hood.
And we were discussing the problems that we have in Columbus with the Columbus Police Department killing a lot of our African-American young children today. And I guess we were talking about the grand jury and how this is being perceived because no police officer has ever been indicted in the city of Columbus. So that tells you we got a problem here.
And Ron O'Brien did say in the same article that even the officers who came remotely close, he still didn't indict them. So it's like, so you had evidence, obviously, to think that they were remotely close to doing something.
Right.
So why wasn't there an indictment?
Right.
You know, that in and of itself, you know, told me that he was going to back up what he felt about the police officers not doing
When as a
anything
prosecutor,
wrong.
he's supposed to advocate for the citizens of Franklin County.
Absolutely.
And they don't.
And
they
that is
advocate
not
for
the case.
the police department, and that's what's wrong with Columbus right now, and a lot of the cities, larger cities in the United States.
So that is one of the things that I would like to see challenged and changed on a state level. Is there's a couple of things on the state level. One is the jury process. I don't think that should be a secret process.
Right.
For one, and then two, the whole home rule policy that the police departments have in the state of Ohio, where if they don't ask for an outside agency to come in, hence like Chief Jacobs just did with the FBI, because of all of the stuff that was going on with the Vice Squad. But if they don't ask for that help to come in, no other jurisdiction can come in. Even at the BCI, like no one can come in, and I don't think that it's fair for them to be able to investigate themselves.
Of course.
Of course
You
not.
know,
If I lie to you, I'm going to, of course, lie. I'm going to help myself out.
But so the FBI, so and I didn't know that Chief Jacobs invited the FBI. I just think I thought the FBI just came in because of impropriety. But she invited them.
She invited them, and
Well, hats off to her.
I won't get so excited about that, only because of all of the things that are going on there. I think that there's a little bit more that we're going to see unfold, and it's almost like her hand was forced to bring them
Which
in.
might be one of the things that motivated her to retire. Well, she's about to retire here
At the end of
very
February.
shortly. Yeah, very shortly.
I think it was her higher tenure, though.
Okay.
Because by April, I was told that by April, regardless, you know, she was going to be at her cap. So, you know, unfortunately, she didn't get terminated. But because I do think that she contributes a lot to the culture that is there as far as the no accountability. I'm not saying that she brought that culture, because the culture has existed for a long time.
Hundreds of years.
But the accountability part of it, I just think that, you know, more could have been done, you know, under her leadership.
And I don't know about that, because if you look at that FOP contract and everything that she does, she have to abide by that contract. And that contract was there in place before she came. You know, even in firing somebody, she can fire them, but then the safety director, whoever can overturn it, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff in the FOP contract, you know, no matter who sits in that chief's position, you know, there's only so much that they can do, you know.
They don't have the power that a lot of us assume
think
that
they
they
have,
have.
yeah.
I see.
Well, what I liked was tonight when I was watching the news, what Ginther said was he was so proud of her because she introduced, I guess, a rule of helping them to be able to diffuse situations.
Helping who?
That's what I wanted to know. Because every time they jump out on somebody, they're the ones who trigger the entire problem.
Okay.
Because we would go with yours with that Gary Cameron, who's one of the cops. Wasn't he that was involved with the shooting of your son?
No, the two officers that killed my son was Jason Bear and
one.
Zachary Rosen.
Oh, that's
which
right.
Zachary Rosen is also the one that kicked DeMarco Anderson in the head when he was handcuffed. Who lost his job? But like Pastor Lamar said, based upon the FOP contract, there is a progressive discipline in any contract that you have. If your union, that contract it's their Bible. And so if you have other individuals who have committed the same types of offenses and they didn't get terminated, then when you go to arbitration, hands down, they're going, there's their victory. So I was not surprised when he got his job back. In fact, I knew that the possibility of him getting his job back was really, really high because most of the jobs that I have worked have been union, and I've been involved in the ins and outs of the process. So, like Pastor Lamar said, the FOP contract is really, really strong. And that is why it's important for us to change the dynamics of our city council, because they're the ones that negotiate that FOP contract with the police department. And we have to have people in there that are willing to dissect that contract and take out that foolishness that is in there that covers them to do the things that they are able to do to the citizens of Columbus, because it's not fair and it's not safe.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think at some point we have to sit down at the table. I'm talking about, and I remember, and I think Jason Pappas, he's no longer the FOP president, but you have to sit down at the table with them, because if they always aggravated and you come to contention, then ain't nobody gonna get nowhere. So we talk about city council, we talk about the mayor, but who's the one that got the juice? If it's the FOP got the juice, okay, we can go ahead and adversaries, or we can sit down and say, look, okay, you want your officers to come home at night? Okay, we want our kids to be safe.
Come home at night, that's right.
Okay, we want the kids to be safe. Okay, how
That's
can we
right.
fix this thing?
That's right.
I'm not talking about grand jury, because that's after the fact.
Right.
I'm talking about now.
To prevent it.
Yeah, how can we stop this?
Right. There's something that we can do. What can we do to prevent this?
Right.
Like Benjamin Franklin said, a house of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
And it's something I know this group, is started to try to figure out where we go from here. Because we can't keep sitting here and watching our children being murdered day in and day out.
And I thought they were off to a good start when they started the community policing and they're on the bicycles and the kid in school. Because when I was a kid, the cops used to come by our house to get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but they used to
And
live by
and they
your house.
lived in our house too.
That's
And
our problem.
all changed.
We tried to change that a few years ago.
I remember
with
that.
the Urban
Yes.
League, and we worked to get it
I recall
because
that.
anybody who works for the city should live within the city.
Like we require judges to live in the
Franklin
county that they sit on.
That's exactly right, because you have no pride. Because when I lived on the east side, Jason Jackson lived a couple doors down.
Right.
And of course I was friends with his dad, so Jason and I would stand out there, and people didn't bother your cars or anything because they knew there was a police officer living a couple doors down.
That's
And that's what we need. We need the teachers. We need all of this in our community, because now these people take city money and go to Dublin, Hilliard, Bexley, and I don't think this is fair.
It's definitely not fair. But there's something that's going on with Children's Hospital. Now, if you watch Nationwide Children's Hospital, they are building up the area.
Oh my goodness!
But they having their employees live in that area.
Really?
OSU East.
OSU is doing that.
Oh yeah.
Mount
When
Vernon
I was
area.
working on someone's campaign, and we took well, you know the one, and I was riding through the neighborhood, and she said, "Look," she said, this is what they're doing. They're moving all of these people out, Poindexter, and they are moving in the people who work, their doctors, their nurses, they're moving them in. Did you know the Poindexter's rent for a 2-bedroom over there on Mount Vernon Champion where the young man was just killed, those apartments go for over $1,100
Okay.
in our neighborhood.
But see, that happens because we sit sideline.
Right.
We allow them to come in and allow them to have a meeting because when they having a meeting, where we at?
Where we at?
You know,
we don't have a seat at
somebody
that
said, "Being
table.
at the table, you on the menu."
You're on the menu.
You know,
That's right.
Seriously, we have to be at the table.
Right.
And I'm talking about to my clergy friends. Okay,
Right.
ain't no way in the world they gonna build up around me.
Right.
And me not say something or me
Right.
get something out of it.
That's
And
right.
anytime I come to the table, I don't advocate for myself.
Right.
I advocate for those who cannot get
Who
at the table.
cannot get at
Those
the
who
table,
can't
right.
advocate for themselves. Like, okay, these elderly people who live in the area and needs to,
Right.
get something better. So those elderly people who live in the area who needs help, who when the price of the real estate goes up, then theirs go up.
That's right.
So
And
That's
then they're
right.
on a fixed income,
That's
right.
and it ends up, pushing them out.
Right.
So
Wow.
it's definitely something that we have to challenge in our community. Is for our community to stay as a whole.
We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Celebrating over 60 years in business, Meatpackers Outlet says thank you, Columbus. Thanks for allowing us to help you pick out selections of meat or special cutting an item of your choice, always at the right price for your budget. Now at Meatpackers Outlet, T-bone and porterhouse steaks, only $8.99 a pound. A lot has changed in 60 years, but what has not is the personal service, great prices, and selection you get at Meatpackers Outlet.
Marx está tomando tarjetas de crédito. Es verdad. Visa, Mastercard, Discover, cheques y efectivo. Entonces ven a Mark y empieza a ahorrar hoy. Marx Grandes Ahorros Viviendo Inteligentemente está tomando tus tarjetas de crédito.
Welcome back to Politics on the Patio. I am Diane Thomas Beasley, my co-host.
Sharon Norris Lynch. And my question for you, Ms. Hood, what have the effects of the murder of your son been to your family and yourself?
Devastating,
In a word,
to say the
right.
least. My son was the fifth. He didn't have any children. He was his dad's only son. So his dad we all have been through the ringer, but his dad is like, we're no longer together, but my heart aches for him, because again, he was the fifth.
Right.
His grandfather, has a really hard time with it as well. My grandson, he's 4. He really is like my son all over again. Like his mannerisms, he got his hair cut off, and they are a split image of each other.
Oh, wow.
So it's like bittersweet, because you'll take a picture of him and then you cry,
Right.
or me and my daughter will send pictures back and forth to each other and we just cry, because he does look so much like his uncle.
Wow.
And he knows that his uncle, is gone, but of course he doesn't grasp the fullness of that. He still, cries at times, I want my Uncle Bubby, because that's what we called him. And sometimes he'll get like our one of our protest posters, and he'll walk around the house and justice for
That's
Uncle
precious.
Bubby. I want
Oh,
Uncle
that's
Bubby.
precious.
And stuff, and it just melts your heart, And then my other son, which he'll be 20 tomorrow, he is really, I think this year we really started to feel the real pain of him being gone. Initially.
How long's it been?
2.5 years.
Okay.
So initially, it's the shock
Right.
of it, and then because of the situation, you have to go into fight mode.
Right.
You know, so you really don't, like, we're really just starting to process, like,
Right.
this really is our life. And, you know, and we're stuck in this, you know, and this is not something that you come back from. You know, it's not like Bub is going to walk through the door, you know, or I'm ever going to have his grandchildren,
Right.
his children, you know, come in or anything. So my son is, you know, I've caught him breaking down, you know, and I'm like, you don't have to be strong, you know. It's okay for you to push and press through this pain, to feel this pain. Do not bottle it in, because sometimes he'll just like scream, you know, and it's like, so I just have to hold him, you know. I mean, it's nothing, I don't know what else to do, you know. And you know, I try to get them to go to counseling, you know, and stuff, and they're like, we're not going to sit on nobody's couch, you know, kind of thing. And because they're adults now, you know, it's like I can't make them go, you know. So I just constantly, I'm in prayer and, you know, standing in a gap for my kids, and just, you know, continuing to minister to them with God's word, you know, so that even when I'm not around, you know, prayerfully, you know, a scripture or something, you know, will come to, you know, to soothe that pain that they're feeling. But it is, in a word, it is devastating. And I absolutely never, ever thought that this would be, you know, my life, you know, at all.
Right.
You know,
Your life just changed in an instant.
an instant. And, you know, it was like the day was going so good.
Right.
And it was right before my birthday. My son had bought me some flip-flops. I had just went to the house, to my sister's house, to get them, and he had left. And I said, well, tell him I'll be right back. And I went to drop my other son to the cages down at OSU to play basketball. And I'll never forget that scream in my sister's voice. And, you know, and my son, he stayed with her because, you know, she has her own, you know, battles and everything. And him being there to help her with her daughter, you know, she really, sometimes I think she takes it harder than I do, you know,
How old
because
was
they,
he?
23.
23, okay.
Because they were so, you know, they were so close. They were the middle children. So they like, my sister and my son, come here, you the middle baby. I know how it feels, kind of thing.
Right.
So
That middle child.
yeah,
syndrome
that middle
that
child.
I hear about.
And
Well, let me say one thing that I grabbed onto Adrian, because we came to one of the movement marches or something and everything. And I saw, here is a woman that then turned her pain into power.
Wow.
You know, so, okay, no, I'm going to get engaged in a movement, you know. So here as, y'all meant it for evil. See, the scriptures about Joseph, y'all meant it for evil.
Right.
But God means it for good. You know, I'm internalizing my pain and I'm bringing it out into power, you know. So I'm helping the movement so that this doesn't happen again.
Right.
So another mother don't have to go through the same. Now she could sit there and wallow in pain and all that stuff and you know all that stuff. But I said, no. This is changing to a movement now.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you look at even the shirt she has on.
That's right.
I know, that's what I was going to say.
I don't know if you can tell.
these
Tell us
are-
about this shirt.
So the front of this shirt is all Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Individuals who have been killed by
Who've
the
been
police
killed.
in Columbus.
All on the front part of the shirt.
And then on the
Sobering.
on the back is the national,
National.
people, Sandra Bland, Oscar Grant. The hoodie, of course, has Trayvon Martin on it. But one of the ladies here in the city, Carla, she made it for me for Christmas.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That
What's her
is
name?
awesome.
Carla Carey White.
Carla Carey White. Great job, Carla. It's a beautiful two-sweatshirt.
Wow.
And a
But
great
this is
testament.
Columbus.
Just
Or great
Columbus.
honor to those,
Just Columbus.
those taken too soon.
Yep, way too soon.
I'm going to talk about what Pastor Lamar does. Because I know I came only one time, and I had to cheat, because y'all was all down on Whittier and Roundabout. I went through an alley, came back, and was waiting on you guys at the church, because I was like, they going too far now. But you do this what, every
first Sunday.
first Sunday, okay.
It's a
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's a Ministries for Movement March.
Okay.
It started back in 2009. In 2009, when a young man had got killed, not by the police, but by another young man.
Okay.
Because they was arguing about a crap game. And they got to arguing, and one killed the other, so, and that's right in the neighborhood. So we have to minister to the family of the victim, then we have to also minister to the family of the perpetrator.
Right.
And try to say, look, they grew up together. They was playing together. They was gambling together. They shouldn't have been gambling together. But they was, and these things happen. And they wanted the church, see, every time somebody died, they ain't got to show, they want the church to, show all the responsibility. And I shared to them a way which we could do it. And the way we did it, so, okay, we're going to have the service. I'm going to guarantee the funeral director, he's going to get his money. But everyone who come to that service, they're going to give me some money. So we have the service.
That's right.
And there's been many of services I've had, and I tell the funeral director, you won't get your money, but then I take up an offering at the service.
Wonderful.
This one service, I
Wonderful.
took an offering of $5,700.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
And oftentimes people they want to do something.
Right.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They may not have a close connection with the family.
Yeah.
And so it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Great situation.
So in that, then we had it developed into marches. I said every month. Every month we would have this.
It's really neat. They have the drums and the young people and I was too old to be with these bad knees trying to and they was just marching. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, okay, I did. I went down the service, and when they came back up, I was standing there already like I had already come back.
You had marched further and faster now.
Oh, yeah.
And Pastor, that's the first Sunday of each month.
Yeah, first Sunday of the month.
And tell me about that location.
This is 3 o'clock, 996 Oakwood Avenue.
Name of your church?
Family Missionary Baptist Church. It's our Ministry for Movement March, and we just march for different reasons. The main focus is drums, because in African traditions, drums is a call to assembly.
Sure.
So when you hear the drums, then that means you need to come and see what's going on.
Right.
And then whatever the issues is that's going on, we address it.
Right.
Whether it's infant mortality or whether it's the opiate crisis, whatever the issues is, if it's shooting or whether it's jobs, whatever, we address those issues. We got all kind of people come to the marches, and we say, okay, when elected officials come, okay, how can you help us with our cause?
Right. That's right.
So we just deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you do this, and we'll talk about, because we need really more people to come out and be part of this. And we really do.
That's right.
And people need to know that these are the things that's going on here in Columbus, and they can become a part of this, because even the meetings and things that we're having.
Right.
All right, see you in a minute. We'll be back.
Best company I've ever worked for.
Are you looking for quality clothes that cost less? Shop Discount Fashion Warehouse and fill your wardrobe for the price of an outfit. Men's and women's apparel, footwear, swimwear, accessories, and more. Only at DFWH.
Hi, I'm Sharon Norris Lynch. Welcome back to Politics on the Patio with my co-host, Diane
Thomas Beasley. And we're here with Pastor Lamar and Adrian Hood. And we're discussing the City of Columbus and the police department. I think when we went to break, we were talking about the march.
Mm-hmm.
How can we get more people involved in these meetings and things? Because we need the community.
Right.
I mean, there's a few of us that's always out there.
Right.
But how do we get the whole community involved with this? Because it's going to take a village.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take 2 or 3 villages.
That's true.
Well, I think the first thing we have to begin to do, we have to begin to find out what is the apex of the black community.
Okay.
And people can go all the way around and skate on, but it's the church. You know.
Right.
And once you come back to the church and you got those leaders in the church who's not afraid, you know, who's not so bought or told.
Right.
When you got those leaders there and they got the heart of the community and the heart of their congregation there, and not the heart of somebody downtown, across town, who's writing the checks and whatnot. When you got those type of leaders, then the church can be what the church is supposed to be.
Right.
And the church is supposed to be connected to the community,
That's right.
lifting up the community. And if you get those leaders, you know, you can bring about some change.
Do you know what happened to me one Sunday? I was in there because I do voter registration at the church. You know me. I'm up here tell them all the stuff, and I do. I'm just running around the church doing my little thing. Well, one of the ladies, the older ladies of the church, looked at me and she said, "You need to stop this." And I looked at her and I said, "Stop what? We don't have politics in the church." I was like, "Hold up, lady."
Yeah.
I said, "Where did Martin Luther King come from? Think about it. And his daddy. Think about the King family, where it started.
Right.
It started in the church, and it grew from there." And she had an attitude with me from then on.
But see, older members, you got to address them with the scriptures. You got to say Matthew 16:18. Mother, read that, please. And he said, "The gates of hell shall not prevail against the church." Now, Mother, you know, so what do you think the church is supposed to be doing then?
Right.
Absolutely.
It's hell coming against the church. What is the church supposed to be doing? You know,
Yeah.
politics is in everything.
That's what I
You
tell
know,
people.
And you just got to sit there. You got to. But see, most of the older members, you know, they don't grasp that. You know, sometimes it's going to take the pastor or another older member to sit down and explain it to them, because everyone ain't progressive in the church. They just satisfied with just going to church, hearing singing, hearing preaching, paying their money, and being left alone.
Right.
You know, everyone ain't into no movement.
Right.
You know, out there marching, out there protesting. Everyone said, "Well, it ain't supposed to be about that." That's what they said to Dr. King when he went to the National Baptist Convention.
Exactly, and that's
know.
what I said. We in the churches, and the churches used to be everything, especially in the black community, because it was the picnics, it was the Christmas party, everything, because back during segregation and Jim Crow, you couldn't go nowhere. So everything was done at your black churches.
Right.
And that's where they really need to get back to. Everything. Because you can go downtown to the Marriott or wherever you're going. Why not have it at your church?
Exactly.
See? And if your church isn't large enough, then There's Pastor Lamar's church, or there's other churches in Columbus that you can work with. We really have a problem now with people standing up and taking a side to all of this, because it could be your kid next, or your grandkid, or your nephew. So we have to take a stand.
Yeah. And people need to stand. Lay aside their egos.
Yeah.
Every leader needs to lay aside the ego.
Yeah.
Well, this is not about you. It's not about me. It's about those kids. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we Baptists. Well, we met. They shooting these kids.
We got one
These
Bible.
kids is dying.
Right.
Okay, what can we do to to stop this?
Right.
And I'm not always about shooting down the people downtown and everything. Okay, they gonna be what they gonna be.
Right.
My thing is the people in the community. When those boys shot out my basketball courts, I don't know if y'all remember that.
I do.
Shot out my
I
basketball
remember when you was
court.
walking down the street taking guns from people.
Yeah.
I remember.
They shot out my basketball court. I said, "Oh, trust me."
Was it?
I said, "Trust me. I'm gonna find out who shot my basketball courts down."
Right.
And I said, I don't need the police.
Right.
They help me deal with my issue. My basketball court's gonna be fixed.
Right.
Later on.
What'd you do, Pastor?
Some young, I called some other young boy. I said, "You know what? Those basketball courts I brought for y'all.
Right.
Now guess what? Y'all ain't got nothing to play on because y'all sat out here.
Right.
Y'all know who did that.
Right.
Because ain't nobody out here at the nighttime shooting out them courts."
Right.
And I said, "I'll tell you what. I got something for whoever want to tell me." And I said, "You don't have to tell me in front of everybody else.
Right.
But give me a call. Here's my number. Boom, boom,
Right.
boom. All you got to tell me, and I handle it from there.
Right.
Tell me they didn't call me." They called me, told me where he lived and everything. I called my boys up, so let's go. We got to go get them guns.
That's right.
Walked right down the street. Went up
Wow.
to the house, and they was running.
down
They
the
was
street.
trying to get rid of the gun. Oh, don't try to run now.
Now, right.
Went up in the house. I need to talk to your grandma, whoever.
Right.
Auntie came and said, "How you know what's going?" I said, "Ma'am, listen. I'm not here to play games. I'm not the police.
Right.
They shut out my courts.
Right.
He said, and I know you ain't got the money to fix it.
Right.
But I know what? They're going to be fixed. And them jokers right there going to fix them."
Gonna fix it. That's right.
And his uncle came down. "Boy, quit lying." Uncle slammed him up against there. "Quit lying. He ain't going to come down here." And I said,
Right.
"Yeah, So anyway, he came, had him clean up the glass and everything. I said, "You going to pay for him." And I said, "You going to pay him for $8 an hour. $8 an hour, however much they cost.
Right.
That's how much you going to pay."
You're gonna work it off.
Yeah, and he just agreed to do that. I called some elders from the community. I said, "I want y'all to come, and I want y'all to tell this young boy what he needs to do."
Right.
And they signed him up for community service. And he said, it just so happens that when we was doing community service, it was on the news, and then the person who makes the basketball courts donated the courts.
Wow.
Yeah,
Praise
'cause they
God.
came out. They came, put the courts up, donated them and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And because they said it's such a good thing that y'all doing.
That's
We
right.
want to be a part of it.
That's right.
And that's what the church and the community needs to do.
Right.
Invest
Yeah.
in our communities.
That's right. And in our youth.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all remember Black Wall Street.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
If you ever watch me on Facebook, you know.
Yeah, the person who started Black Wall Street, he started on the 12 essentials, the 12 essentials of elevation, and one of the essentials, environment, employment, enforcement. Enforcement was one of the essentials. Look, you don't need the police to enforce your community. You got elders in the community. Those elders, you bring them elders together. Elders hold the young people responsible, and the young people respect the elders, and your community is safe.
Right.
Yeah.
But we used to stand out on the corner.
O.W. Gurley, that's his name.
We stand out on the corner, and I was just telling a friend of mine, I just went to her house for a Christmas party, and I always tell her about her mom. Her mom would come out that door. Get off of that corner and go home before I call your mama and daddy. I told her, I said, we used to think your mama was the meanest woman in the whole neighborhood. And she passed away last year. And I tell my friend, I said, you know what? She kept us off the streets. Because as soon as she see us, she would come out that door. And we would start running. Because we just thought she'd come out there and beat us. We really did. Because she had a voice on her. But that's what we need today. We need everybody involved.
That's right.
Everybody.
I told earlier this summer, a few young kids were walking by my house and gesturing, some obscenities. And I had on my muumuu, my house dress, and my Birkenstocks. And I went down and walked over to the apartments.
Oh,
and
that's right. You told
Or
me
said,
that.
don't do that. I said, no, these children belong to somebody and their parents, need to know. And my husband said, oh, you just call the police? No, we don't call. These are they're children, number one. And it's just that it's summer. Their parents aren't home. They don't have anything to do. And that's all it is. But I walked over to and found, they scattered once I came around the corner in my house dress and my Birkenstock. But when I got around there, I found one of the mothers. And she said, thank you for coming over here because I'm not here and I don't have any choice. But she made the little girl apologize, and I told the little girl, I said, no, I know you're better than this. Yeah. And she hung her head. I said, don't hang your head. You were raised better than this one. And the mother said, yes, of course I am. And our mother said, now if we see her again, my address is da-da-da-da-da. Interesting that no children actually walked past my house after that. I guess they thought, well, she's actually going to walk over here. Because when I saw them misbehaving, I'd say, I know your mother. And I know your father. And that's what all that they need sometimes. It's like you said, to go to their home and engage. Seconds later, of course, my husband came around the corner on two wheels because he thought
there's gunshots over there quite a bit.
He thought some harm was going to come to me. But I said, I'm protected.
That's something we need to. That's what we need to get back to. Is now it's. I mean, even as when I drove the school bus for 10 years, I was in the district. And if you get on a child, their parent comes to the bus and want to tell you off and everything, and it's like when you're not there, I got you.
That's right. That's exactly right.
This is my child on this bus, and I'm not going to do anything to them that I wouldn't to my own.
To your own child.
I have expectations on this bus, and they have to follow those.
That's right.
Or you can take them yourself.
That's right.
But you know what? This has been a great evening, and our time is going down. I do want to thank Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor Lamar.
Thank you for having us.
Miss Adrian Hood. And
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
I do, and I want to thank everyone. And of course, if you want to get in touch with Pastor Lamar, he's at 996 Oakwood. Try coming out on for the march on the first of the month.
First Sunday of each month. That's right. Family Missionary Baptist Church. Again, thank you all, and we'll see you next time here on Politics on the Patio.
Bye-bye.